Happy Easter, everybody.
Hello.
Are you there, Andrew?
Yes. Oh,
Are you alive?
I hear you now.
Are you all liturgied out?
No,
You got time for more liturgy?
I do. Is there another Easter Mass today?
Um, I bet you if you flew out to like Hawaii or something, you might be able to find one.
Hmm. Wonder if the plane would go fast enough.
We'll get you on a intercontinental ballistic missile with a depressed trajectory.
This
It'll
sounds like
get
the
you there
start
in
of a
like
great math problem.
it'll get you there in about 4 minutes.
Oh, nice. If you're
Oh my
trying to
God.
get to Mass on Easter Sunday and it's 7 o'clock at night, and you have to be at Hawaii by 9 in the morning, I think it's already past that time,
It's
actually.
actually already past that time. It's a long shot to begin with.
How fast do you need to travel to go faster than the speed of light to travel back in time?
It's 4.0 times 10 to the eighth meters a second. That'll get you faster than the speed of light.
Okay, fantastic. I think I'll
Yeah,
make this nice.
yeah, yeah. So I want to play
Yeah.
a little game, Andrew, because I'm genuinely curious
Okay.
about the answer. Since Thursday, how many liturgies have you participated in the choir?
In the choir,
Yeah.
let's see. One on Thursday, one on Friday, one on Saturday, two on Sunday.
Okay.
We also did Chrism Mass, so that's another one, but that's not Thursday.
Oh, okay. You didn't do it on Thursday. All right. I was wondering if you were you've matched me in the number of liturgies I've actively participated in.
Oh, nice.
And I thought there was a chance that you might beat me because I had Mass of the Lord's Supper. Father Phil did that, and then we had the Mass of the Pre-Sanctified on Friday. Father Carmel did that,
Hmm.
and then I did the Easter Vigil. First time ever being the main celebrant for that.
Oh, wow, nice.
And I believe all of my baptisms and confirmations were valid. So great
That's good.
success. And then mass this morning at 9, and then I participated as a deacon in a solemn high mass for the Latin mass community.
Oh,
And for
okay.
and for some reason I'm here.
I'm here too, so.
Yeah.
Oh man. I
Yeah.
I I did not know that you could participate. I mean, I guess you mean the role that the deacon would otherwise take, right? Or are you
Right,
like a
right. So
deacon
I
in
vested
that
as a
role?
deacon. I vested as the deacon. I
Oh,
did
okay.
everything the deacon would have done. Um, so that's how you do. That's how most of the time you end up doing a solemn mass because there aren't that many. There just aren't that many deacons available because either they're permanent deacons and very few of them are involved in the Latin mass, or they're transitional deacons and they become priests soon. Mark is. You
Mm.
did that on purpose, didn't you, Mark? Happy Easter. I tell you
Happy
what,
Easter.
I only like IPAs about 5 days out of the year. And it's got to be hot. And like I might be in the mood for, yeah, an IPA. So
Just been wine for me today.
just been wine today. Oh, that's good. So, Andrew, did you have any Easter insights you'd like to share?
Oh, have I?
If you have any. If you don't have any, that's fine. You don't have to have insights.
That's a good question. I feel like I might have had one, but forgot. So, have you?
Yes, yes, it was Holy Thursday night. I'm accustomed to so Holy Thursday Mass. You do not end Mass in the ordinary way, but you form a procession with the Holy Eucharist, and you process to another altar, um, hopefully outside of the church, and that's called the altar of repose.
Hmm.
Um, and the way that we did it at my parish, which I might be able to change next year, was we've got kind of our main gathering space, which will someday be the parish hall, and then we've got our daily mass chapel, which will someday just be a classroom. And
Okay.
the way we did the procession is that all of the ministers came in through one door here, and then people were kind of like invited or told that they could come in through this other door here, right?
Okay.
And what we really missed was the fact of the procession and why we do it. And this year that I didn't actually do it, I finally understood why we do it. And the reason that you do a procession at the end of Mass to another altar is that symbolizes Jesus and the apostles leaving the upper room, walking across the Kidron Valley to the Garden of Gethsemane.
Oh, okay.
And for
Wow.
all the years that I've done these Triduum liturgies, it's never clicked with me like that. It's like, oh, that's why I do it. Until we didn't do it in a way that I really liked. And then once that happened, it's like, oh, that's why we. Oh goodness.
So did you like read it in the whatever it is? It's not a syllabus. What is it called?
The
The
rubrics.
rubric? Yeah. Or did you just
No.
do it this year and you're like, oh, wait a second. You know.
Yeah. It was just like, oh, that's why we do it this way, because I went to the Triduum masses growing up, right? And it's just like, oh yeah, at the
Mhm.
end of Holy Thursday, you do a procession. And like, if somebody had asked me about it, I might have thought about it and come up with that answer, but nobody ever
Mhm.
asked, and I never asked. So it was just a matter of seeing that contrast. So my hope is that next
Right.
year we'll be able to set up the altar of repose in the gymnasium, which would be a suitable place for it, I think. We'd be able to get more people in there, much larger space. We'd be able to
Mhm.
decorate it well. Um, and yeah, it'd be great.
Okay.
I wish there was a garden of get some money in my town. Me too, Babelvis. Me too. We would have great success building our new church if there was that.
Money doesn't grow in gardens, so
Yeah, it grows in the Federal Reserve.
that's right.
Excuse me.
Not
I
to go
promised I
there.
wasn't going to get political tonight. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So,
that's pretty cool.
that's my Easter insight for the year. It's like, oh, that's why
Oh,
we.
well,
I
that's
see
pretty
something
cool.
new. I see something new in Holy Week every year,
Nice.
right? Because
Well,
you come back to it and you've got room for new insights every year. That's why celebrating the same liturgies over and over again isn't bad. It's actually good.
yeah, well, it's great that you can like always find new things. It's like a painting.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I realized that one thing that I've noticed. So I haven't really done Holy Week growing up, so this is like my second time doing it.
Hmm.
Um, so this year, since I was in the choir loft, I went outside and I watched them light the fire on Good Friday.
Easter
And
Sunday,
what's that?
Holy Saturday. I think is what you right. The Holy Saturday
Oh yeah,
fire.
that's right. Easter
Yeah,
Vigil, that's what I meant.
yeah,
Uh, Holy Saturday, yeah. So I went outside, watched them do that. Then we went inside and went right up to the choir loft. And looking down, I saw the candles being lit as the bishop was processing down the center aisle and stopping. And it was really cool because all I see is just a few candles, but from the choir loft, I can see like all of them instead of like when I'm in the pews, I only see the people next to me. So it's I can just slowly see more lights appearing because candles don't just flicker on. They you have to have somebody hold their flame to yours, so they just multiply sort of uh, without me seeing how it's happening, but I just see more lights coming up. So it's really cool to just see how they're all spreading and lighting up throughout the church from up in the choir loft where I could see them all at once.
hmm yeah. Yeah, that is a fabulous sight, and the church doesn't put any music on top of that besides the
No.
light of Christ. Thanks be to God.
Yes,
We
exactly.
just come on in. Yeah, you have 2 days of Easter here in the Netherlands.
Really?
Alrighty then, cool.
I thought we
We
had
have
like several weeks.
Well, I mean, how do you want to count it? We've got the octave of Easter, where it's Easter Sunday every day, right? So the clock stops, and
Oh
tomorrow
yeah.
is also going to be Easter Monday, but it's celebrated as if it was Easter Sunday. So we've got a whole week of that until next Sunday. And then we've got 50 days of the Easter season. So yeah, I think again, Catholicism wins.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's right.
Babelvis. Yeah,
Yeah, good stuff.
yeah.
But that was one of the things I noticed, and trying to think if I can remember anymore. So busy singing, it's hard to notice what's going on.
I want to give a word of appreciation publicly for my pastor, Father Phil, um,
Mhm.
because I had some ideas and he let us do it. So my idea was, hey, let's do all 9 readings. And he's like, sure, let's
Ooh,
do it. And I was like, if the weather permits, and thankfully it did, let's do a wood fire outside. And he's like, great, let's go for it. Make the arrangements. And I was like, yes, 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 yes.
nice.
We're not going to do any of this, hour and 20-minute Easter Vigil business.
Oh
So
my
it was two and a
goodness.
half hours.
Ours was like 2 hours or 2.5 hours, but we only did 1, 3, 5, and 7 for the readings.
Hmm.
So we must have maybe confirmation took a real long time. I don't know, but that's cool. Yeah.
Becoming Catholic for political reasons. Those are the worst reasons possible.
Uh,
I don't know why you'd become Catholic for political reasons.
go for
I
it.
I can't comprehend that at all. So you drop your answer in the chat there, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit.
As long as he's Catholic, right?
Well, no, Andrew, no. That was the attitude that led to, baptisms at the edge of the sword of the Middle Ages, and that situation literally never ended well.
Uh, I guess that would be political reasons.
It would be. Wouldn't the numbers help the Catholics? With the Lord, it does not matter if you have a great host or a small host, because God is the one who's fighting, not our own efforts. So it's not about getting butts in the seats. It's about getting people closer to the Lord, obedient to the promptings of the Holy Spirit. God takes care of everything else. There you go, Andrew. Now you know.
All right.
And the people who are listening in today.
That's good to
Yeah.
know.
So we had an interesting situation. I'd never seen anything like this before.
Mhm.
But I baptized a man yesterday and his 2 sons.
Oh wow.
Um, and they were neither of them were confirmed. They're too young. And they sat in the front row, which is great, and they like slept through the entire liturgy of the word, which is fine. And then when it came time for them to come up and get baptized, they were just absolutely throwing a fit. Like they did not want to do it. They were just done. And
So I take it they're young.
yeah, it was like 3 and 6 or something.
Mhm.
So so just not having it. And so there I am, these kids are losing their minds, and I'm holding the Easter candle and I'm chanting the blessing of the Easter water as fast as I can. So just like like we just need to hurry up and get these kids back in their seats. And you know what? You know what? The second I splashed the water on them, they started calming down. And so my
Oh,
interpretation of the event is that old Satan didn't want to lose his dominion, and so he was putting up one last battle, and he didn't win.
yeah, that's
So
probably it.
yeah, because once we splashed a little bit of water on him, we put the white garments on him, it calmed right down. Everything was better. And they went back to sleep.
Oh, nice.
So my man who got baptized yesterday, I don't know what sort of memories he's going to have of his own baptism because it's mostly going to be a squirmy 2-year-old.
I wonder if the kids will have any memory. Maybe the
Man, who
6-year-old.
knows? Who stinking knows? Not my business. My business is just to baptize him.
Yeah,
I
it's just a
think
nice
it's
white robe stuff.
I think it's a little bit of grace went a long way. That's my thought. Uh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've never
I think
baptized anyone.
good. You really, I mean, either that means you shouldn't have done that or you saw somebody die, which is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Grew up in an atheist family, became Catholic as a young boy with all the stuff, even sang in the church choir, and since about age 10, never returned to the church.
Oh, wait, so did his whole family become Catholic or just him?
Probably his whole Catholic family. I don't know. You drop the answer in the chat, but Balbus, if you yeah. Oh,
What's the YouTube channel that's coming in on?
that's coming in on Randos United.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I'm dual streaming. I'm dual streaming. I'm not
Right.
the
I gotta.
I'm not on Jacob's channel though.
Okay.
Just me. It was only him. Interesting. So did you get baptized at like age 10?
Yeah, that's interesting. How'd you do that?
I mean, maybe in
I mean,
the
I have a Jewish friend who wants to become Catholic, and he refers to himself as being Catholic, even though he's not baptized yet.
is he a catechumen?
No, I think he tried to go to through RCIA once, but somehow didn't make it yet. So
Well, you could sponsor him.
I could, I guess. Yeah, I'll let
Yeah.
him know.
I think yeah, it's just like, hey, find out where you want to go take classes. I'll go with you. Be a good thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably Babelvis's problem is that he didn't have anybody looking out for him. You know, that's one of the problems. That's one of the problems with Catholicism is that we're so big that you could leave and nobody never come back and hardly anybody will notice.
Well, you could do that in a lot of well, I
It
guess you can't
depends.
really do that with like work or recreational stuff because usually in that you're talking to each other and doing things with each other, where at Mass you're focused on the Mass and the Eucharist and not talking to each other.
But there should be things around the mass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
I'm a
sure.
big partisan for coffee and donuts after mass. Let the
Mm.
kids run around and play with each other.
I think it would also be important, in addition to coffee and donuts, to get each other's contact information and go do other stuff.
Yeah.
Because then, if you notice they're not there for a while, people could be like, "Hey, where's John been? Maybe we should call him, make sure he's okay." You know,
hmm hmm
otherwise somebody could just not show up, and then you
Yeah.
don't really know what happened with that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I didn't say nobody says anything. It's like you stop showing up and nobody even notices because nobody ever knew that you were there.
Oh yeah, that
So
can
I
happen.
mean, it used to be, back when we had priests coming out of our ears and we just have these little neighborhood churches with one priest. Um, and
Hmm.
that priest could keep an eye on everybody. We're shorthanded, so what that ends up meaning is that we've got bigger churches, everything's more centralized, everything's a little more bureaucratized, and the priest does not have quite as much personal contact with people.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not an ideal situation, but what do, right? You need to provide mass for people, and you need to have a church that's big enough to hold all the people that want to come to mass. So you build bigger churches.
Yeah. I guess so.
Father, what should Catholics think about Anglicans? You should think about Anglicans as children of God, as cousins in the faith, and as people who um, you should talk to about faith if they're willing to.
Mm.
I wonder, Mark, if the function of the cathedral in the Middle Ages wasn't more for big events, and that's why they would have all the space in there, and the actual cathedral parish wouldn't take up the the whole of that congregational space, that they would have little parish churches for that. Oh, anyway, I'm just speculating though. I have no idea. I didn't live in the Middle Ages, and I'm not going to research this.
Uh,
Renee, Renee, what do you think about Anglicans? Because I don't know what you think about Anglicans, and if you're thinking something, then I might be able to that to help you out. To exemplify multi-generational signaling. Oh, right,
no.
because they would people would start a cathedral that they know they would never see built.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we can't build stone cathedrals anymore. We can build nice church buildings that I think can imitate a lot of the qualities of the old cathedrals, but we're going to be doing concrete and steel architecture, even if let's say the siding is stone or brick.
Yep.
And
That's true.
it's a lot cheaper. You can have fewer pillars, which I think is a good thing. And it goes up in 3 years instead of 113 years.
300. Yeah.
Changes how we think about time. Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I don't see us able to do that. But yeah, no. Everything's fast. Everything's quick now.
Yeah.
So I just I don't know. I don't see a pathway forward to the multi-generational I mean, like how are we going to get that up to code if we're going to have, people just coming in during the winter months when they're not farming to build that?
Uh, well, I guess you would hire people
Yep, see, there's the
who
problem,
are.
right? Because these cathedrals, I mean, and it wasn't that long ago that you'd be in a country church and you'd a country parish, and like the farmers would come in during the winter
Mhm.
months, and they get the external and then they would work on everything on the interior. If there was some specialized art, maybe they had to bring in somebody from the outside, but like all of the flooring, all of the plaster on the walls, as much as people could do locally and actually work towards, they would do that.
Right.
And that's just not the America I live in.
What stops people from donating their time now?
That's a good question.
What would have to change? I mean, you're saying like
You know what
back
stops that?
then.
You know what stops it? All right, I don't know. I'm gonna go out here on a limb. but I think it's our washing machines, our furnaces, our indoor plumbing, our cars. I think that's what stops people from just doing that.
Mm-hmm. Why? Because they cost money?
No, no, because they save time.
Okay.
Yeah. We have this expectation that everything's just going to be quick and easy if you pay money for it.
Hmm.
You start living that way. You start living that way that everything's just quick and easy. I've got the money. I can just pay somebody to do this for me.
Yeah. But at the same time, constructing a cathedral is kind of a unusual task, so you'd think people would think of that as different and not have the same expectation.
Yeah, I don't think we work like that. We build up habits.
Hmm.
Like, this is the central insight of this guy named Marshall McLuhan. Dr. Marshall McLuhan. He wrote some really interesting books. I think he was a Catholic too, but he talked about, and this was his major thesis was that technology isn't something that exists outside of you. Technology gets inside of you and it changes you.
Okay. What
So
does it change?
it depends on what kind of technology you're talking about, right? When was the last time you left your house for a day without your phone?
Probably during COVID. So a couple years ago.
Right. Okay.
I
Have
have
you?
left my house without my phone on accident, actually, like a week ago,
Sure.
but that
What
was
did
on
that feel
accident.
like? What did that feel like?
It felt like, oh gee, if anybody contacts me, I won't get back to them, I guess.
So how long were you away from your home?
Um, Probably all morning and most of the afternoon.
Wow. You're a rare bird, Andrew, because most
Yeah.
people will have a deeply anxious feeling if they don't have their phone on them,
Oh yeah.
right?
I
Because
I
like some people navigate with GPS everywhere. They
oh
don't know where anything is.
well, I remember how to get places.
Yeah. So maybe you're more resistant to technology than the average Andrew, and that'd be cool if that's true. I don't know, but this
Oh.
technology, it gets itself inside of you, and it changes your behavior, and maybe if you're not careful, it changes your beliefs as well.
Yeah, I guess it could do that. If like things are convenient, then you would believe
Right,
things are supposed to be convenient.
right. And you know what's really inconvenient? Spending an entire Saturday putting down floorboards at a church when you've been working hard every other day of the week. And it's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
why don't we just have a capital campaign? We all want this church, right? We all want this church. We'll just get our money together and we'll hire people to do this professionally for us. I, that's how we take care of a lot of things, is that we've got these technological systems that we just pay the money towards and somebody else takes care of it for us.
Right.
So this electricity that is enabling this conversation, we have professional power plant operators and linemen and electricians, and they take care of all of the electricity. We've got people running these servers. They do it for money. So we've got people building it all only happens for money.
Yeah.
and then you become dependent on other people's maintenance of these systems in order to function,
Okay.
which means you're not developing skills yourself to take care of yourself, which
Yeah,
means
but
I don't have any idea how to put up drywall. I don't know how to
okay.
plaster. I don't know how to do any rough carpentry. I don't know how to shingle a roof. I don't know how to install a window. I don't know how to do any of this. I know how to do the Easter Vigil, so
Well, what
I know
you don't
I know
know,
how.
I would say you don't know how to install modern windows, but you might be able to make your own window in a different way.
Yeah, but I'm not going to. Do you want to know why?
Because
Because
you
this
have access to the
technology,
other.
yeah, I've got access to just paying somebody else to install the windows.
Yeah,
It changes you. You go
right.
back to middle of nowhere, North Dakota, over 100 years ago. You didn't have all these systems. You didn't have all of these technologies. And so people figured out how to do their own carpentry. They figured out how to install their own windows. They figured out how to reshingle their own roofs. You could get a
Right.
kit from Sears, and it would be delivered on railway and wagon, and it was a home kit. And so you had all of the lumber needed to build a home and maybe some instructions, but it was like, hey, you do it yourself. That
Right.
sort of society is the sort of society that can build a cathedral the way they used to.
So the interesting thing is that the people who were building cathedrals, if they were farmers, then it's not like they were engineers who had incredible insight or
I mean,
practice in materials.
I might be overstating this a little bit. I don't think they would have done away with professionals entirely.
Well, my point is that maybe the way they built churches in the past was not as, maybe it wasn't complex, maybe it was pretty simple. I mean, actually, in architecture, we went over the Palazzo Farnese, which is a building in Rome that was built in the Renaissance.
Hmm.
And we were told about how they didn't have rulers and that system of measurement back then. So what they did was they used the golden ratio and methods of regulating lines to tell where everything goes in a really simple way without having to measure anything. So you could tell construction workers or whoever's building it, just do it along this line and make a circle here and it'll intersect at this point. You just build there, make a window there, that sort of thing. So it was
Uh,
actually pretty simple.
sure, sure. That's not how we build buildings today.
No.
Like I've sat in some of these architect meetings with the architects building our new church, and it's all measuring, right?
Hmm.
And they've got these really slick computer programs where they can draw all of the line. I'm sure you're learning how to do these
Yes.
drafting. Um, so I don't have to tell you about it, but it's like, and then they can highlight the line, and in the program you can like click on the line and it'll tell you, oh, that's a 2 foot, it's a 2 foot board of lumber or whatever that's going to go
Yeah.
there, but it'll give you the exact measurement, and you can zoom in on it and you'll get more detail, and it'll crisp up the lines, or you could zoom out and get the big picture. It's all measuring, right?
Right.
Not yeah, not generating it procedurally. You know, standardized measurements is actually a really difficult problem. So if you can uh, avoid it,
Right.
it might make things easier when you're actually doing these things.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
So anyway, I guess my point is that we are not worthy to build cathedrals in the way that people at one time built cathedrals.
Um, we're not worthy or not willing. I mean, what does worthy mean?
I don't know. Maybe worthy wasn't the right word, but it could be the right word. Yeah, yeah.
Could
It's
be.
like I don't know. I think it was more than just flesh and bone that built something like Notre Dame du Paris or the Chartres Cathedral, or even some fine places in the United States like the Basilica in St. Louis.
I'd say so, yeah.
And there was this spiritual involvement here, and if we are not willing to submit ourselves to that Holy Spirit, uh, then we're not worthy to build a cathedral.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I agree. But I think it's still possible to get people to do it
It would
if you
take
have
it would take great faith.
yeah. Well, it might have in the past too.
It
You
did.
did
It
say
absolutely did take great faith in the past to start a cathedral that you would never see the completion of.
right. And you did say that it was farmers who were
I think
like
they were
not
doing
doing
some of
anything
the
else, right?
yeah. So I'm looking at the way churches were built in the late 19th, early 20th century in North Dakota. So we're
Hmm.
not talking, some of these churches are very nice. Like they did a really good job on them. And,
Hmm.
these little towns are punching way above their weight class on that. I imagine there was a similar process for some of these great churches over in Europe. I don't know why, if you had some farmers and workmen who didn't have anything to do, why they wouldn't come to the work site and put in a few hours of work. That's what I
Yeah.
think, but I'm not like an expert on this. I'm just a guy with a webcam and a microphone. So
Yeah, well, we donate money to churches, so why don't we donate time and physical labor as well, which people do already.
because time is worth more than money to a lot of people.
Hmm.
It's pretty easy to
Interesting,
write a
because
check because you're not actually giving of yourself. Like I don't you should give to charity. It's a good thing to give to charity. I'm not telling people not to give to charity, but that is not the only sort of giving that there is because you're giving something extrinsic to yourself. You're not giving anything out of your own substance.
you did work to get the money in the first place.
Yeah. Did you though? Did you really?
Well, I guess it
You know how
depends what
many
you do.
people Elon Musk fired at Twitter and Twitter is still running? Like, how much were those people really working?
Hmm. Uh,
Just because you have money and just because you have a job doesn't mean that you're working.
I guess, yeah.
And I bet you, I mean, this new Russian Memorial Orthodox Christian Cathedral for military there, I'm sure it's a splendid building. I wonder if they did old school stone architecture all the way through, or if it doesn't have a stone and brick facade with steel architecture underneath.
Hmm.
Visited Germany in the late 90s. The most memorable part was the old cathedrals and castles. Yes, they are beautiful indeed. That's why my background is the facade to St. Peter's, St. Peter's Basilica. Although that was kind of an interesting thing, and I'm sure Andrew, when you went to Rome, you noticed this too, that all church facades there are identical.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what a church looks like. That's what they all need to look like. They all need to have the same facade. So
Well, it's a language of the area. So they match because that makes sense. Why wouldn't they match? Unless you're in America where everything has to be different.
yeah, I'm not saying that they weren't beautiful. I was just surprised that they were all the same.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I noticed.
And have you noticed that many of the other buildings, like all of them, look incredibly similar?
Yeah, yeah. It's they've got this Roman brand of architect. That's really interesting, right? So
Hmm.
you've got this Roman brand of architecture. You got these Roman buildings, and that's what buildings are supposed to look like. And
Yeah,
everybody just knows that's what buildings are supposed to look like. Now, the
in Rome.
American genius is we build the same strip mall everywhere,
Hmm.
right? Like we've built the
Yeah.
same strip mall, the same malls, we've got the same McDonald's, all of the same outlets. So we standardize everything. It's all super consistent. The odds of a Big Mac in Louisiana being significantly different than a Big Mac in North Dakota are very, very low. But we always make sure to put little tricks in there to try and make the exact same strip mall look just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's important to us, right? But it's not
Uh,
important in Rome.
Not so much. No. Um, it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? That our
Yes.
intent, our intent, our intent with all of these strip malls and such is to produce the same thing over and over again. But it is extremely important to us to make every little thing look unique
Well,
on the
hmm.
outside. Even though we dang well know that that McDonald's is going to be as identical to every other McDonald's, that little strip mall is going to be as identical to every other strip mall that we've built in this country since the 1950s.
Do you have an example of like something in McDonald's that would be different in each store? Do you mean the layout of it or
So
some interior element?
McDonald's is a bad example, right?
Oh, okay.
McDonald's is a bad example. But like how much architectural variance is there in a strip mall? Like, yeah, it's always going to be a little bit different. You do have to adapt to the landscape and the amount of, and the needs and the parking and all of that. But it's all functionally, it's just a self-replication thing. We're going to build this little strip mall here, but we got to make sure that we do something special with the facade, something special with the roof, something special with like maybe some pillars or something, and the signage to make this one not look like the strip mall across the street. I think
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to point at.
Interesting. Um, the
And
interesting
then
thing
and then
also,
it's that.
oh
Go
yeah, I was
ahead.
gonna say like the strip mall is obviously looks very different from people's houses, like residential areas, and which also looks completely different from like schools.
Mhm.
Where in Rome, the buildings look so similar. And I don't think there is a strip mall in Rome, actually. At
No,
least I
and
actually
I
there's a
bet you I
museum.
bet you it's against the law to build a mall in Rome. Like, and that's a good law, and it should be enforced.
Yeah. Actually, though, one of my professors showed me a very interesting, like, modern museum or something like that. That's kind of in the north part of Rome, and it looks crazy. So I don't know. I'll also see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's in the northern part of Rome, and north is where the barbarians come from, so nobody takes it seriously.
Oh man.
Yeah, in Paris, they banish all modern buildings to the outskirts of the city. Exactly. That's not what you want to put in the in the center. The
Yeah.
Galleria Vittorio Emanuele Duo is interesting.
Uh,
Is that the wedding cake?
no. Wedding cake is Altar of the Fatherland.
Alrighty. Here comes the portion of the screen where I start sharing. This portion of the stream where I start sharing my screen.
The altar of the fatherland is kind of interesting.
Alrighty. Oh, okay. That is interesting. Alrighty. I will not keep you in suspense any longer.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, they changed StreamYard. Sorry. How about that, huh?
Okay, which is this one?
That's the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele Duo.
Looks okay.
I don't know how you actually put the seconds into Italian, so that might
It's
not
not the
be.
one I saw.
This is what I got. Here's the interior, right? That's actually a pretty lovely space. Even
Yeah,
though
it's quite nice.
It is a temple to Mammon, but you do need to be able to buy things. It's got yeah.
Let's see.
The masculine urge to have all
Wait, can you
public
look at
spaces.
the outside? Do you see an outside picture of the okay. That does look actually kind of different from the usual Roman building, but
But
it
this
has
is in
some
Milan.
elements.
It's in Milan.
Oh, this is in Milan?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. That makes sense.
it says Milanese right there, and I do think
I
I
see.
saw. Yeah, where in Milan right there. So
I see.
Milan and
Okay.
Rome are not the same thing because there's no such thing as Italy.
Right.
Italy is a
Wait.
man-made fiction.
Okay.
Do
I
you not
guess
believe me?
I'm not Italian then.
No, no, no. You're probably like Sicilian or Neapolitan or Lombardian or
I don't know where those are. I mean, I know where Sicily is, but
yeah. Gotta ask. Gotta ask.
yeah.
Where was Great Papa from?
Well, I know that, I think, but it's like I think somewhat southeast of Rome.
Yeah, that'd be like near Naples, or would it still be kind of in a Roman area?
I think it's still close to Rome.
Okay, so you're Roman then.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually, let me
you're
check.
talking to me. That's a pretty Roman thing to do. You're
That's
gonna
true.
go into architecture. That's a pretty Roman thing to do.
Also
Um,
true. Hold on, let me see if I can find it actually.
it was built during the last kingdom of Italy. Interesting. It's a triumphal arch too, but I saw the shops in there. Were the shops added later, or was it always intended to be a market?
Oh, it's actually closer to Naples.
Oh, okay. You're one of those lazy Southerners then.
Yeah, I guess.
The
That's why
North
we
is
came to
more,
America, where everything's easier and lazier.
yeah, maybe, maybe. It's
That
really
might not
hard.
be the reason.
It's really hard, and we put a lot of effort into being lazy here.
Well, I was going to say earlier, like you talk about having washing machines and phones and cars and everything, but those cost money, which means you have to pay for them and you have to spend time getting that money. So you're spending all the time anyways. So
Alrighty. It has always been a shopping gallery, and we have always been at war with East Asia. Very good. Glad we got to the bottom of that. That is interesting architecture that they would have a shopping gallery look like that.
it's a
I
shopping gallery.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, it's always been a market.
Oh, all right.
But you think about American shopping malls, and we they always have really tall roofs too. They're boxy. They're not
Hmm.
they're not arched. Um, but
Yeah.
it's just we've got this instinct with our public spaces that they have to go up. They got to open up because they'll feel too crowded. You're the architect student. Why do all of
Yeah.
our public spaces? Yeah, it's like that in the United States too, though. It's really funny. Sorry, I'm talking to Neutrino right now. The Southern stereotypes. Go back a couple of months to the stream after Mark and I got lost in the woods. Listen to that story there.
All
Anyway, I
right.
interrupted you.
Well, you interrupted yourself.
I did. It's my stream.
So what were you saying about
You're the architecture student. Why do all of our public spaces have to be so tall?
tall?
Tall.
You mean like
The
in
the
New York
roof.
City?
No. So I go to a shopping mall, right?
Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
that's what I
like the
spacious.
really high ceilings?
Really high ceilings. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. We do
That's
it
a
with
great
churches, we do it with
question.
shopping malls, we do it as much as we can manage. Anywhere that we can manage, we're going to have all of that extravagant space that
Let's
is not
see.
strictly functional.
Well, in every CVS or Walgreens or that kind of store where you, like pharmacies, um, they have a manner of building in which the building is really tall. However, the ceiling is not that tall because they store everything on the upper floor. So there's a
Mm,
space up there that's for storage, and then the entire underspace is for shopping instead of like other stores where the storage is in the back. So it's possible that they do that. They build really tall so that stores can store things
but
like
they also
vertically
have
instead.
I'm thinking especially, and I know you're young and you don't go to malls, you
I
just
was
buy
I was gonna
things
say
online.
I was just
But
about to say I
I'm
don't go
thinking
to
of the
shopping malls.
in between spaces of a shopping mall. Like, let's say you've got a two-level shopping mall. You're always going to have like a balcony, right,
I
looking
see
down to
that.
the lower level, and then you're always going to have a skylight.
Yep.
Why is
That's
that so
actually everything
important?
that's showing up, yeah.
Why is that so important? That's
Well,
what I'm.
part of it is could be efficient use of space. The other part is the concept of a shopping mall. So, what do you think the message would be that they're trying to get across when they build really spaciously and give you this railing you can look out and see multiple floors and see all these stores all around you? It seems like everywhere you stand in this part of the shopping mall, you have a pretty wide view of many different kinds of stores. And the whole point of going to a strip mall is to drive to a big space where there's a whole lot of different stores that you can get all sorts of different stuff from. So my guess is the whole reason for that is the concept is to give you a feeling of variety and having lots of many different options to choose from. You can go to all these different stores. It's kind of like what they do in um, supermarkets in the produce section where you first walk in. They arrange everything on these like waist length uh, containers and then sort of turn them in all sorts of different directions and give you a winding path. So it gives you a changing perspective around all the different fruits and gives you the impression that there's a lot of variety to choose from.
Mhm.
That would be my guess. What do you think?
I I think that's a part of it. There's something about coming into a church that draws your eyes upwards, though,
Hmm.
right? And that's I'm sure that's something that they talk to you as well. And I don't. So this is. It's like all the shopping malls I can remember. you come into kind of a narrow lower space,
Mm-hmm.
but then you get out into a bigger, more open space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that's significant. I'm trying though. I'm
Hmm.
trying. It's
Are you
Easter
trying to
Sunday.
relate it to like the concept of a church?
Yeah, yeah, right? Like I don't know. I'm not going to say it's like a blasphemous parody because it's not like churches have a corner on the
Everything
yeah.
on the universe as a whole.
Yeah, yeah, right. We don't have a patent out on building tall buildings.
Well, I mean, God made everything, so everything reflects God in some way.
Yeah, I just don't want to say anything nice about shopping malls. I guess that's my big thing because
Man,
it's all
shopping malls are so beautiful.
no, they're horrible. Horrible. If I want to criticize a church, I'll say, it looks like a stupid shopping mall. I don't know why they built it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
I don't know. I'll have to I'll just have to ponder this.
Uh,
Why they're imitating that.
so what is bad about a shopping mall? Didn't people used to go to them a lot, like in the 80s and
Yeah,
90s?
yeah. The 80s and the 90s were the age of the shopping mall, right?
It was like the place to hang out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never really did. They were kind of on the decline by the time I was a young person, and also I wasn't cool, so you know. Yeah, it might be that. Might be that. Shopping malls are worship of mammon. I think that's probably it. I guess basically what bothers me about shopping malls is that 90% of everything in there you don't need.
That's true. You don't need it. 90% of everything you don't need is on a computer.
Yeah.
Maybe 99%. But then, hmm, I mean, what do you need besides
And
food and religion?
need the word of God. Man does
Besides,
not live. Yeah, food and religion. That's what he
besides
said.
bread and the word of God.
It's a church
I
of
mean, you don't need
consumers.
anything else, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like what is being embodied by a shopping mall?
Um,
Convenience and purchasing power and prestige, something like that.
mm, yeah, convenience, definitely.
And it's I
The other
guess
thing is, um, stuff like supermarkets and shopping malls kind of came about because of the automobile. So people used to walk from market to market and get their meat in one place and then get their fruits at another or something like that. But then now you can all go to one place and get everything. And that's only really possible if you have a vehicle to carry everything. Or I guess you could use a cart beforehand. But also, they're so
yeah.
large. Well, they're so large because now you can have so many more people coming to it in a short amount of time with the automobile because they're faster.
Hmm. It's all it all has to do with the number of the beast.
Uh, in a
Does that
car?
feel like it's out of yeah, yeah, the car, all of it. All of it has to do with the number of the beast.
So where's that car?
The the number of the beast. Haven't you watched Pageau's videos on that, Andrew?
I might have watched one of them a while ago.
No,
Are they new?
no. They came out, during all the COVID stuff because, of course.
Oh yeah, okay.
And yeah, it's so Andrew, when is the first mention of the number 6 in the Bible?
In the days of creation,
Alrighty. Who was created on
man.
yeah, man was created. So six is the number of man, right?
Yeah.
7 is the number of perfection.
Okay.
So 6
Man is
6
imperfect.
yeah, man does not have the completeness inside of himself. Right? Only God is big enough and powerful enough to enfold and comprehend the whole of reality. And we are only given a part of it. We're given the garden to till.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at 666, in addition to all of the numerology stuff with all of the numerology stuff around Nero, right? Who was the embodiment of human power at the time that John the Visionary was writing.
Mm-hmm.
There was also the number of silver talents that Solomon had collected for the construction of the temple.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he do
Alrighty.
that on purpose?
Solomon? I'm sure he's trying to get as much silver as he could manage.
Hmm.
So, what happened to Solomon? Do you remember the way his story ends?
Doesn't he have a lot of wives and then
They
I think
turned
he
his heart
dies?
to strange gods.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, doesn't it say his heart got lost among his many wives?
yep. But I'm sure all of the. How do you get many wives?
Uh, polygamy?
Money.
Oh, well, that too. So you're saying
So
he used
he
600 and
at the height of his power, he went beyond the law. He went beyond the his proper place, and that caused his downfall. By trying to integrate too much into his system, he um, ended up trying to integrate far more than his identity could handle, and his identity ended up fracturing between the one true God of heaven and all of these other false gods that his many wives turned his heart towards.
right.
So, all this to say that the 666 is you trying to reach out and control things
Mm-hmm.
that you can't handle.
Okay.
That's a lot of American society right now. We're trying to create these perfect, unbreakable systems, right? And if you don't
Yeah.
believe me, think about 3 years ago.
Uh-huh. Coronavirus.
All righty. Can you unblock Vincent so he could talk to you about the Athanasian Creed? I don't want to undo a decision that Jacob made because I am using the StreamYard platform at his pleasure. So
Just take it up with
basically, what I'm
Jacob.
saying is, I see the automobile and the shopping mall and all of these systems that we've built for our own comfort and convenience as being a manifestation of this power-hungry spirit that tries to control the world in ways that is not good. So
Mm-hmm.
let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number, and that number is 666. There you have it.
Yes.
Does that make any sense whatsoever? I'm pretty tired right now.
Yeah. Were we still talking about shopping malls?
Sure, shopping malls, cars, all of this stuff that surrounds us,
Oh yeah, that's right.
computers too. Yeah,
So it all the cars and the computers and the spaceships are an attempt to have acquired too much to one's identity or something like that.
yeah, yeah. To have dominion over things that you properly can't control.
Okay. So then how did we get to the moon? Or are you saying properly can't control for an extended period of time?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I don't know. I guess the moon landing doesn't bother me so much,
Okay.
because it was just, it's like the moon's there. We're gonna go check it out. All right. But it's not. It's like I'm only gonna start worrying once we start trying to settle the moon. And I'm not gonna say that
Oh,
that's necessarily bad, but oh my gosh,
as long as we get priests over there.
yeah, yeah, the space Jesuits. Gonna have a spaceship full of space Jesuits.
Space Jesuits.
Yeah, gotta the first bishop of the moon. Although, if we were to overextend canon law into territory that it shouldn't go, I think the Bishop of Orlando would technically be the Bishop of the Moon
Okay.
because there was this convention that whenever a new land was settled uh, from Europe to other places, the place where the ship left port, that bishop would have jurisdiction in that colony until something permanent was erected.
Okay.
So if you take that law and extend it in a silly manner, that means that the Bishop of Orlando, from where Cape Canaveral is, and the astronauts launched, would be in charge of the moon.
Oh.
Happy Easter.
Um,
Ah,
okay. As long as he visits the moon sometime, I'm okay with that.
yeah, I mean, he wouldn't actually have any subjects there, so it'd be debatable as to whether or not you need to actually have. I mean, no, you don't need to have any ecclesiastical organization there. There's nobody. Talking about the Bishop of Orlando? Well, that's a look it up question right there. Bishop of Orlando.
Furthermore, does he look like the kind of person who would be Bishop of the Moon?
Yes. Well, there you have it. Bishop Gerald Noonan, the Bishop of the Moon. There he is.
Should write him a letter of congratulations.
Well, he inherited the moon from his yeah, Irish-born American prelate, been serving as bishop of the Diocese of Orlando since 2010. So previously he was an auxiliary bishop.
Hmm.
Uh, Imagine moving from Ireland to Florida.
Wow. Sounds like quite the change.
It would be.
Imagine moving from Ireland to New Jersey.
Like now or back in the day?
Oh, like back in the day, because people did that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, before, you had like all these ugly built up places, it might not have been so bad. But I remember I did a trip to New York City in high school, and we stayed in a hotel in Trenton or something. And I just thought that was just the ugliest city I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. I don't wish New Jersey on anybody. I don't wish New Jersey on my worst enemies.
Okay.
I
It's not
just
that bad.
Yeah, well, That's not funny to say it's not that bad, Andrew.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh, it's really bad. It's terrible.
It can't be as bad as Ohio, though. You know
Oh,
why
I guess, yeah.
Ohio's the worst state?
Because it's empty?
No, North Dakota's empty and it's lovely.
Oh,
Ohio is the worst state because per capita it has sent more people as astronauts than any other state by a fairly wide margin. So there's something
so
about Ohio that makes people want to leave the planet.
oh, I see. I was gonna say they sound really competent, and I guess nobody lives in Ohio anymore because they're all astronauts.
They're all astronauts. Indiana, that's a different kind of town. A buddy of mine's a priest at the Diocese of Gary, and so one day we put on our civilian clothes. We were visiting him. He lived in Hammond, and we toured a wrecked Methodist church in Gary, which is like a really rundown town.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really interesting when you see like a big old church because this was like the heyday of the main line, 1950s, 30s to 50s. Sometimes it was built, and it's all just falling apart. Multi-level buildings. The Amish have a nice society without the cars and the magnetrons. And now I'm wondering what a magnetron is. Maybe the Catholic Church can lead the way to give an example of low-tech living. Yes, yes. And last week we had Mr. Ted on, and he was talking about Clear Creek Abbey in Missouri. And his comment on that was the only indication that you were living in the 21st century there was the parking lot for the cars, and that everything else was done in a much simpler way. So I would say the people who should take up that mantle would be a religious order, right? To to be that presence in the world, in the church, because that's a thing that people get into. It's more of this domineering spirit, is that you think everybody has to be the same, and it's not. Is it? Oh, is it Missouri? Missouri? Did I say? I think I said Missouri. Maybe it's actually Oklahoma or something. Happy Easter, everybody. So
Mm.
so if I really wanted to get serious about all of that simple living, I wouldn't be a secular priest anymore. A priest living in the world. I would try and found some kind of a monastery to do that low tech, connected to the land kind of living.
Right.
So anyway, you want to
Well, they
join my
seem to be pretty
monastery, Andrew?
successful. No.
Okay, alrighty. Too bad. Yeah, no,
Do you?
it's really funny. No, I don't have the gumption to go found a religious order. That's a lot of work.
Well,
But it's
Saint
like
Francis is my confirmation saint, so
it's my confirmation saint too. So maybe instead of being monastics, we should become another Franciscan order.
sounds good to me.
Actually, the Franciscans would be the okay, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Yeah, those states are at
Okay.
least kind of close to each other. I got it mixed up in my head, but the Franciscans would actually be the ones to lead the way because Saint Francis, he was all about Lady Poverty and following after her.
hmm and
So
chastity.
yeah, but poverty especially.
Oh yeah.
It was those kind of, he was the son of a cloth merchant, and he goes and he rejects all of his wealth and lives a simple life, which is exactly what this theoretical religious order that nobody's actually planning on doing. Uh, I don't know. That'd be like I think they're actually in Indiana. The Franciscans of the Primitive Observance.
Okay.
They will have serious conversations about whether or not it's okay for them to have deodorant and toothbrushes. which is pretty hardcore. And I don't know if I'd want to.
No toothbrushes.
Yeah, yeah.
That is
This is the
interesting.
Franciscans of the primitive observance. So one of the questions they're asking is, are we allowed to have anything that St. Francis wouldn't have had?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did St. Francis have anything that people before him didn't have?
St. Francis didn't have anything.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
He literally wrapped himself up in sackcloth so as not to go around naked.
Yeah. He had food, though. Pretty
Indeed.
sure.
Indeed, he had food. But he begged for it. It wasn't
Right.
his.
What if he begged for, like, a horse?
I bet you he got popular pretty quickly, so I bet you somebody would have given it to him. But that would have ruined it.
Yeah,
Oh, dropped my
yeah.
pen.
I guess food you can't own food for very long.
Nope.
Well, you wouldn't own a horse either, because horses have to eat too.
Yeah, yeah. They just set it free or something. I don't know. Some
Yeah.
wacky Franciscan story.
Yeah. Yeah, but the whole conversation of technology is a good one, I think. It's very complicated though.
It is
Maybe
complicated.
I was thinking maybe like a good way to get people to build another cathedral is to do some sort of tradition of having a month or something like that of just uh like a penitential labor of building the cathedral. Like a Lenten thing. Okay, this Lent, our parish, we're gonna put stone bricks on top of each other and build a church.
That sounds penitential.
Yeah, there's an idea. Make it a group thing.
Problem is that bricklaying is a skill. It's not just something you can have any idiot do.
That's true. But the farmers did
Right, because they were farmers, not idiots.
it. Yeah, that's true. Not a lot of people are laying bricks these days. Hmm. Well, then, in that case, the first Lent, you have a bricklaying class. Then the second Lent, okay.
They're gonna forget. They're gonna forget if you don't do it.
If you do it every day for a month, you'll remember.
You'll remember. Actually, though, that might be just crazy enough to work. Problem is that you're never gonna get it built up to code.
Uh, what do you mean?
Everything has to be built to code now. You can't just build a building. What are you, nuts? You can't just build things. You got to have permission.
It's not a building, it's a class. We're just teaching people how to put bricks on top of each other. And oh, whoops, it looks like there's a building now. Where did that come from? No?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they're gonna buy that.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, that's true. There's code as well. There's a lot of things that have to be worked out. I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues in class about codes and the sort of buildings that maybe we should build in the future, and we got talking about what was it called? Uh, Homes with extended family in them, multi-generational, and talking about how that might be a good idea, but also towns probably might not allow it because of the view of how buildings are like an asset now and not a home. Um, so we were having a whole conversation about how we could possibly change that, or at least change the mindset of a house being a home and not a financial asset. We only just started, so I don't have any solutions at the moment.
The solutions are to pray, fast, and give alms.
That is a good solution.
And I'm encountering a problem right now. I'm really out of gas. I did not
It
get
is Easter
much.
Sunday,
It is Easter Sunday. So I'm really
but
not inclined.
tomorrow,
Yeah, tomorrow. Maybe I'll do another stream tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm really not inclined to try and push this all the way out to 9:30. I'm running out of gas, Andrew. I'm not as young as I used to be.
I'm 20 minutes past.
Yes, you've already
But
made it to 9:30, haven't you?
yes, but I am as young as I am now, so
Alrighty. Well, thanks for hopping on. It's good talking to you.
all right. Good talking to you too, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter. God bless you all.
God bless.